Hey guys, and welcome to my daily Roblox upload schedule. And recently, I've been playing quite a bit of Forsaken on Roblox, and I thought, how about I just do a tier list? Like, I just make a tier list and give my opinions on each of the survivors that you can play as in Forsaken. And I'm really bad at this, so I think it's better if we just start now. So I'm gonna go in order from the easiest low star to the hardest highest star. And we're gonna start off with Shedletsky. Shedletsky is a free survivor, is a 2-star difficulty, has 100 health, and has 2 abilities, Slash and Fried Chicken. Upon using the Slash ability, if you hit the killer, you will deal 30 damage and stun the killer for 3 seconds. You will also gain resistance 2 for 0.5 seconds and minus 75% speed for 1.5 seconds. This ability has a 40-second cooldown. Upon activating the Fried Chicken ability, you will immediately restore 5 HP and you will regenerate 35 HP from a span of 10 seconds. When first using the ability, you will be slowed down, and if you get damaged by the killer, the regeneration is cancelled. This does not apply to minions. You can only use the Fried Chicken twice in one game. I personally think Shedletsky is a really good character to play. Getting used to his Slash ability, it's pretty easy to get used to, and he can also help out others on the team, and also heal himself for up to 80 health, granted if you can get away from the killer and then heal up. Meaning that Shedletsky can have up to 180 health in one game. This makes him a pretty good character. The 40-second cooldown on Shedletsky's Slash ability is definitely something that drags him down a bit, but other than that, I personally think he's an A tier. The next survivor is Taph. Taph costs 600, is a 2-star difficulty, 100 health, and has 2 abilities, Tripwire and Subspace Trip Mine. Activating the Tripwire, you will place a Tripwire on the ground and you can make it as long as you want, and if the killer runs into the Tripwire, the killer would be given slowness 2 for 4 seconds, and the killer will be highlighted for 8 seconds for anyone within 100 studs. The Tripwire has 10 health, and if the killer runs into it, it will be destroyed, as well as if the killer uses any attacks. The tripwire will slowly become less visible over the course of 150 seconds of being placed, and it will destroy within 80 to 85 seconds after being placed. You cannot place another tripwire within 8 studs of each other. You can place down 3 at a time, and they have a 25-second cooldown. When activating the Subspace Trip Mine ability, you will throw a Subspace Trip Mine onto the ground in front of you, and it will go semi-invisible, and it will slightly reveal itself after 15 seconds of being thrown down. If the killer gets within 16 studs of it, it will detonate after 0.4 seconds. If it hits the killer will be granted with Helpless 1 and Subspace 3 for 5 seconds. If you are also hit, and if you are the Taph that placed down the Subspace Trip Mine, you will also be given Subspace 3 for 5 seconds. If the killer attacks a Subspace Trip Mine, the killer will only be granted Subspace 1. The Trip Mine will naturally detonate after 50 seconds. This ability has a 40-second cooldown. I personally like Taph because with his abilities he can definitely slow down the killer a little bit and can help other survivors that are in low health get away from the killer. I have to give Taph a B. Although his abilities can definitely help other survivors, his abilities cannot actually stun the killer. So the killer can still chase other survivors. But it's still, in my opinion, a pretty good character. The next survivor is Elliot. Elliot is a free survivor, is a 2-star difficulty, has 80 health, and has 4 abilities, to being passive and to being activated. Order Up is a passive ability. Any objective that is completed will give a 5% increase to how much a pizza throw can heal other survivors. This caps at 25, so 5 objectives. Deliverer's Resolve is another passive ability. For this ability, if any survivor receives damage from anything, they will be marked for all Elliots for 12 seconds. This does include an environmental damage. Pizza Throw is an activated ability. When activated, you will throw a pizza in front of you that can heal any survivor. It will instantly heal 15 HP, and then 20 HP regenerates over 2.5 seconds. You will gain a charge on your rush hour if you heal another survivor. This does not include if you heal another Elliot. Survivors 200 studs away from you while you're throwing the pizza will result in the pizza being highlighted. After 25 seconds, the pizza will despawn. Every other area in the round will decrease the pizza health by 50%, but this caps at 80%. You cannot heal yourself. This ability has a 45-second cooldown. When activating Rush Hour, you will be granted Speed 3 for 3 seconds. This has a 40-second cooldown. You can only hold one use, but is rechargeable by healing other survivors other than Elliot's.
Elliot is quite powerful. He's goated tier. Even with 3 Elliots, you can still do a lot to contribute to the team. I personally mained Elliot quite a bit.
Also, just to quickly tag on this, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you give the video a like, and if you comment what your favourite survivor is and why. I'm genuinely curious. Also, feel free to point out any mistakes I make, and even any video editing I make. I am very open to some criticism. The next survivor is Noob. Noob is a free survivor. It's a 3-star difficulty, has 100 health, and has 3 abilities: Bloxy Collar, Slate Skin Potion, and Ghost Burger. While activating Bloxy Collar, you cannot sprint for 10 seconds until the Bloxy Collar is fully drunken. Upon drinking Bloxy Collar, you will be given Speed 1 for 10 seconds and remove any existing slowness effects. If you use while using Slate Skin, it will not grant you Speed 1. Even if you drink a Bloxy Collar that's been spawned around the map, it will still trigger a cooldown. If you drink a spawned Bloxy Collar after drinking your Bloxy Collar ability, you will be granted Speed 2 instead of Speed 1. This ability is a 50-second cooldown. While drinking the Slate Skin Potion, you cannot sprint and you will have 40% less speed. Upon drinking, you will be granted Slate Skin 2 for 6 seconds, and you will also be given 80 Overheal. This will give you 45% less speed. You can recast the ability after 2.5 seconds manually. It can also wear off naturally after 6 seconds. If the ability wears off naturally, you'll be given Speed 2 for 2 seconds. If it wears off manually, you'll be given Speed 1 for 2 seconds. This ability is a 55-second cooldown. Upon eating the Ghost Burger ability, you will have 40% less speed. Upon eating, you'll be given Undetectable 1 and Invisibility 4 for 10 seconds. You will not be undetectable if you're the last survivor standing. This ability has a 45-second cooldown. Although Noob's abilities cannot help the team directly, he can definitely stall the killer if the killer decides to go after the Noob.
My opinion, I'm actually going to give Noob a B, because he can be pretty good at stalling the killer, and if he has all his abilities ready for last man standing, then he can definitely be a nuisance for that. Next up, David Baszucki. Yeah, Builderman. Builderman costs 500 player points, is a 3-star difficulty, has 90 health and has 2 abilities: Sentry Construction and Dispenser Construction. When activated, you'll be given Weakness 1 for 2 seconds, and it will take 6 seconds for you to build a sentry turret in front of you. If you are damaged while building, it will be destroyed and the ability will be cancelled, meaning that you can build it again. This ability has a 45-second cooldown. It has 30 health. It has a 32.5 stud range, but this decreases by 16% for every other sentry turret activated, but is capped at 8 studs. You cannot build anything else in a 62 stud range. It can do a 0.7 to 0.6 damage per hit to the killer. You can only have 1 sentry on a map per Builderman at a time. When activated, you'll be given Weakness 1 for 2 seconds, and it will take 6 seconds for you to build the dispenser in front of you. If you are damaged while building, it will be destroyed and the ability will be cancelled, meaning that you can build it again. This ability has a 45-second cooldown, has 15 health, has a 16 stud range, and you cannot build anything else within 30 studs. This can heal survivors for 1 HP per second, but this does decrease by 8% for every other dispenser, but it's capped at 0.3 health points per second. You can only build 1 at a time per Builderman. In my opinion, Builderman can be alright, so I am going to give him a B, especially since he can heal other teammates. And the sentry gun can definitely slow down the killer for a small bit. Next up, we have Chance. Chance costs 777 player points, has a custom 3-slot machine difficulty, and he can have between 55 to 130 health in the game. He has 5 abilities, 1 being passive and 4 being activated. Unpredictable Fate is a passive ability. When spawning into the game, your max HP will be set to a random value between 70 and 90 HP. Coin Flip is activated. When you activate it, you will flip a coin. If you land on heads, you will get a charge for other activation abilities. If tails, you'll be given weakness 1 for 15 seconds. Weakness stacks have no cap, even if the effect was off. Coin Flip has a 0.5 second cooldown. Reroll is an activated ability. If activated, you will reroll the value of your max health between 55 to 130 HP. This does not heal your current health. Percentage of health what you have now will carry over to the next health that you have. When activating this does reset charges. It has a 20-second cooldown and has 3 charges to use. Hatfix is an activated ability. When activated, all weakness stacks from the coin flip and other weaknesses will be removed. You can also use Hatfix to repair the Flint-Knock if it blows up. This does reset all your charges, and this does have a 60-second cooldown, and it needs 3 charges to be used. And best for last, One Shot. One Shot is an activated ability. When activated, you will pull out a Flint-Knock and will wind up for 1 second. 1 out of 3 outcomes will occur depending on your charges. With one charge, there is a 25% chance for the Flint-Knock to explode, a 25% chance for the Flint-Knock to not go off, and a 50% chance for the Flint-Knock to fire. 2 charges is 15% chance for the Flint-Knock to explode, 15% chance for the Flint-Knock to not go off, and a 70% chance for the Flint-Knock to fire. 3 charges is 5% chance for the Flint-Knock to explode, a 5% chance for the Flint-Knock to not go off, and a 90% chance for the Flint-Knock to fire. If the Flint-Knock explodes, it will deal 45 damage to the user and it will disable the ability, needing Hatfix to repair. If it doesn't go off, nothing happens. If it does fire and it hits the killer will be stunned. There is a 90 stun distance, and depending on how far or how close you are, the stun can last for 1 to 4 seconds. If you are closer, the stun will be longer. All outcomes will reset your charges. It is also to note that every chance in the round, the stun time is reduced by 15%. This ability has a 40-second cooldown and needs 1 to 3 charges to use. So with Chance, it's a bit hard to kind of place him where I think he belongs, because with Chance, it is pretty much in his name. It is about chance. However, getting 3 charges, there is a 90% chance that you can still stun the killer. So I'm gonna have to maybe put him in lower tier B for this one. He can be good, but next up is 0, 0, 7, and 7, which I'll just call 7 and 7. It's simple, okay? 7 and 7 costs 500 player points, is a 4-star difficulty, has 100 health, and has 4 abilities, 1 being passive and 3 being activated. Dex is a passive ability. This ability lets you see the further spawn point from your current location. Clone is an activated ability. When activating, this will create a clone that lasts for 10 seconds, and you will be given invisibility and undetectable for 4 seconds. If you touch a clone after 2 seconds, the clone will die. By default, the clone will wander aimlessly, but this can be changed with the inject ability. This ability has a 27-second cooldown. Cool GUI is an activated ability. When activated, you will stay in place for 6 seconds before teleporting to the further spawn point location from you. The further spawn point location can be seen with the Dex passive ability. If you are being hit or if you start repairing a generator, this ability will cancel, but you can use it again. This ability has a 50-second cooldown after successfully using it. Inject is an activated ability. When activated, this will change the clone's movement type. Aimless wandering, which wanders aimlessly, is the default. Pathfinding. Pathfinding will pathfind your clone to the further spawn point location from you. And cursor. This will make the clone follow where your cursor is. If you're on mobile, the cursor will run in the direction that you are facing. This ability has a 0-second cooldown. While you can trick a newer player who is the killer, if they are experienced in the game, then the clone may not really do much. So, I'm gonna give 7 and 7 a C. Next up, we have Guest 1337. Guest costs 500 player points, is a 4-star difficulty, has 115 health and has 3 abilities. When activated, Guest will brace and gain resistance 5 for 1 second, and your speed will be 40% for 2 seconds. If you successfully blocked an attack, your movement will be immediately restored. Resistance 5 will also be removed and you will be given speed 1 for 3 seconds. You will also gain a charge for your punch ability. Projectiles does not apply, but however, they can block you. Also to note that when blocking, your hitbox size is also slightly bigger. This ability has a 24-second cooldown. When activated, Guest will dash forward in a shoulder bash pose for 1.5 seconds. If the killer is hit, the killer will be knocked back, and the killer will have their abilities locked for 1.25 seconds. You will also be invincible for 1.25 seconds. If the killer has already been charged by another guest within the last 10 seconds, the effects on the killer will not be applied. If your charge is missed, you will gain slowness 2 for the duration that is equal to 3 times your distance from the killer, divided by 13. So the maximum would be 15 seconds. Charge will automatically end if you hit the wall or fall off a high place. It's also to note that you cannot regenerate while charging. This ability has a 40-second cooldown. When activated, you will wind up your fists for 0.8 seconds and punch forward. You will gain resistance 2 during the wind up. If you hit the killer will be stunned for 2 seconds. If the punch is used within 1 second of a successful block, the punch will become a parry. Parried punch's wind-up is 0.6 seconds, and you will gain resistance 3 during the wind-up, and will stun the killer for 3.5 seconds. This ability has an 8-second cooldown, and you get 1 use after a successful block. I really like Guest. Guest can really be a big attribute to the team, so therefore I'm going to place him in A. He's definitely really is needed for a good team. Next up is 2-Time. 2-Time costs 500 player points. It's a 4-star difficulty. You start with 80 health, 40 health if it's your second life, and last man standing can be up to 110. 2-Time has 4 abilities, 1 being passive and 3 being activated. Obliviation is a passive ability. You will gain an Obliviation bar. Filling it up will grant you a second life. Requires 70 damage done to the killer. When you respawn, you will get 40 HP, and you will be given speed 2 for 6 seconds. And also weakness 5 for 12 seconds. When last man standing and your second life has not been loosed, you will instantly gain the percentage of your current bar times by 30 minus 40, which can be up to 110 max health. Sacrificial Dagger is an activated ability. When activated, 2-Time will wind up for 0.3 seconds, then stab forwards with the dagger. 2-Time will gain resistance 3 for 0.7 seconds. If 2-Time front stab the killer, it will deal 25 damage and grant slowness 2 and helpless 1 to the killer for 1 second, and it will also heal you by 10 HP. If you backstab the killer, it will deal 35 damage and stun the killer for 3.5 seconds, and allows you to heal by 20 HP. This ability has a 30-second cooldown. Crouch is an activated ability. When activated, you will crouch down and reduce your speed to 9, 15 while sprinting. You'll become undetectable and invisible for 10 seconds. When exiting, you will be given slowness depending on the killer's distance. Cooldown increases each time for crouching. You will not be undetectable if you are the last survivor standing. This ability has a 35 to 50 second cooldown. Ritual is an activated ability. When activated, 2-Time will carve a respawn symbol into the ground with his dagger. This will allow you to have your second life if your oblation bar is filled. You will automatically respawn if you are killed by the killer. You will be highlighted for 2 seconds and being given immunity for 2 seconds. This doesn't need to be filled if you're the last survivor standing, and this only has 1 use. I don't really use 2-Time, but when I do, I think 2-Time's a pretty cool character to play as, and he can be a bit of a nuisance when last man standing as well. I want to give 2-Time a B. And finally, we have Dusekkar. Dusekkar costs 600 player points, is a 5-star difficulty, has 90 health and has 3 abilities, 1 being passive and 2 being activated. Levitation is a passive ability. This ability allows you to float above the ground, and you will not make any walk sounds. Spawn Protection is an activated ability. When activated, you will cast a shield on another survivor for up to 3.5 seconds in a range of 95 studs. This will grant the other survivor resistance 4 while you are 25% lower when using the ability. For every other Dusekkar casting a shield, the resistance is reduced by 1 level. You must keep your cursor on the survivor to maintain the shield, and if you are out of line of sight for 2 seconds, the shield will break. If 3 Dusekkars are all shielding the same one person, all shields will break and will grant blindness 3 and slowness 3 to all the Dusekkars. This ability has a 30-second cooldown. The survivor is anchored and being executed or protected by another survivor. The ability will fail and will not be put on cooldown. Plasma Beam is an activated ability. When activated, Dusekkar will spin the staff for 2 seconds before shooting a beam with a 75% stud range. You will be slowed by 25%. If the killer is hit, this will grant the killer with slowness 2 for 3 seconds. If a survivor is hit, it will grant the survivor speed 1 for 4 seconds. This is reduced by 0.5 seconds for every other Dusekkar. You will also grant 20 overhealth, which is reduced by 2.5 for every other Dusekkar. This ability has a 30-second cooldown. I don't really play Dusekkar that much, but I will say that Dusekkar, it can be useful for slowing down the killer or making a survivor faster or giving them immunity for a few seconds. So I'm going to have to put Dusekkar into C. And that is my opinion tier list for each of the survivors in Forsaken. Now, of course, your opinion is going to be different than mine, and that's okay. This is just my opinion. If you like this video, then and you made it this far, then yeah, like in the video, down in a comment of what your favorite survivor is and why. And well, I mean, hey, you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, right? So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, this has been a little bit fun.